Welcome to Uncaged Chaos. I'm your host and certified life coach, Andi, and this is where we bring language to what healing actually looks like. This episode is part of a series of emotions. Every emotion has a job. Most of us just were never taught what that job was. So in this series, we're uncaging one emotion at a time. We'll explore what it's trying to tell us, how it shows up in the body, and how we can work with it instead of against it. Because emotions aren't the problem. Misunderstanding them is. So if you're ready, let's uncage another emotion. Today we're talking about sadness. And if I'm being completely honest, sadness used to piss me off. Not because it hurt, but because it slowed me down. I'd tell myself, I'm fine. I'll deal with it later. I don't have time for this. As if emotions were emails that I could just flag and come back to when life wasn't so busy. Spoiler alert. That strategy is garbage because sadness has one rule. It waits. You can ignore it, stuff it down, pretend it doesn't exist, stay busy, distract yourself, scroll, work, pour another drink, crack another joke, tell everyone you're good. But sadness is incredibly patient. It will wait weeks, months, years if it has to. But eventually, it comes back asking for the exact same conversation. See, I think sadness gets one of the worst reputations of all the emotions. Everybody wants happiness. Nobody wakes up thinking, you know what sounds amazing today? A good ugly cry in the Target parking lot. No, nobody wants that. We act like sadness is something to fix, something to get over, to avoid. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if sadness isn't here to drown us? What if it's here to move through us? Because I don't think sadness is a storm. I think sadness is more like a river. And rivers have one job, to flow. Not to stay still, not to become a lake, and not to be trapped behind a dam. Just move. And I think that's where so many of us get stuck. We don't let the river flow. We start throwing rocks on it. I'll deal with it later. Rock. I'm over it. Rock. I need to be strong. Another rock. I don't want to burden anyone. Once again, a rock. It doesn't even matter anymore. Another rock. Then another. Then another. Until one day, we've built a dam without realizing it. And for a little while, it looks like it's working. The river isn't moving anymore. We're not actually feeling it. You don't cry. You don't feel. You don't think about it. You tell yourself you've healed. But water doesn't disappear because you blocked it. It collects. Pressure builds. The current gets stronger. And eventually, one of two things is going to happen. Either the dam breaks or the river finds another way out. Maybe that's the panic attack that came out of nowhere. Maybe that's why you're snapping at people you love. Maybe that's the anxiety you can't explain. Maybe that's why you're emotionally exhausted all the time. Maybe it's the numbness, the resentment you've been carrying for years. Because blocked rivers don't create peace, they create floods. And floods don't just carry water, they carry debris, broken branches, mud, pieces of trees, everything that got caught along the way. Now your grief is tangled with shame. Your disappointment is tangled with your identity. Your heartbreak gets tangled with your self-worth. And suddenly you're trying to untangle years of emotional debris after one tiny thing finally broke the dam. It wasn't the last thing that happened. It was everything that never got the chance to move. Sadness and I have always had an interesting relationship. The role I naturally play in people's lives isn't to keep them comfortable. It's to challenge them. I ask the hard questions. I hold people accountable. I see potential in people before they see it in themselves. I'm the friend who's going to lovingly call you out on your bullshit because I know you're capable of so much more. And here's the problem with that. Growth is extremely uncomfortable. People love the idea of growth until growth asks them to change. Then comfort starts looking real attractive. In growth also comes loss. Loss of either the relationship when they choose to stay the same or loss in giving up that comfort to grow. And with loss comes sadness. And I pour everything into the people I love. I show up, I listen, I celebrate, I challenge, I fight for the people in my life. So when someone walks away, or when a relationship naturally reaches the end of its season, it really hurts every single time. And for the longest time, I thought that sadness meant that I had failed. That if I were a better friend, maybe they'd still be here. But sadness wasn't telling me I failed. It was reminding me that I had loved very deeply. I don't ever want to become someone who only loves people halfway because I'm trying to protect myself from loss. No thanks. I will risk the heartache every single time because the alternative is never fully showing up. And I've learned that some people are chapters, some people are entire books, and some people are just simply a paragraph. But every single one leaves fingerprints on your life, and every goodbye deserves to be grieved. Not because you should stay there forever, but because pretending it doesn't hurt doesn't make it hurt any less. It just builds a bigger dam. Nobody stands next to a river and says, "What a shame, look how messy the water is." No. We stand there in complete awe. It's powerful. It's beautiful. It commands your attention. And a river isn't beautiful because the journey was easy. It's beautiful because everything it encountered along the way. The rocks didn't stop the water. They shaped it. Every twist, every bend, every obstacle, every cliff, every place where the river had to carve a new path created something absolutely breathtaking. The water didn't become powerful by avoiding resistance. It became powerful because it kept moving through it. And I think we're a lot like that. We spend so much time trying to avoid sadness because we're convinced it's going to break us. But what if the thing that actually breaks us is refusing to feel it? What if the beauty isn't found in avoiding the rocks? What if it's found in learning to flow anyway? Healing isn't about living a life without loss. It's about trusting that loss doesn't get the final say. It's about trusting that the river knows where it's going. That even when life throws rocks in your path, you don't stop flowing. You just find another way. You know what I've never seen? I've never seen a river argue with a rock. It doesn't stop and throw a tantrum. It doesn't decide, well, I guess this is where my journey ends. It keeps moving. Sometimes over the rock, sometimes around the rock, and sometimes, with given enough time, straight through it. And maybe that's the lesson. You don't have to fight every obstacle life puts in front of you. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. And you don't have to rush yourself to get over it. You just have to keep moving. Because sadness was never meant to become your identity. It was only ever meant to move through you, like a river. So until next time, keep uncaging the chaos, and remember that emotions are just energy moving through your body. And having them is all part of being fucking human.